Zach here with Zach's Vacs and Tech Tracks. The purpose of this channel is not to have these highly edited videos, and that might change over time, but just to go over uh, the latest vacuums in tech as I get them and review them. I'd like to also kind of have two videos. One video is just kind of an unboxing with an overview, and then a week or two later, another video with a little bit more in depth on how to use it in a tutorial. Today we're going to be reviewing the Roborock Q Revo Pro. This is a vacuum and mop combo from Roborock. This is one of the, I would say, third tier of their vacuums. So the purpose of this vacuum, I did a lot of research, many other channels as well, and this vacuum comes highly rated. Roborock really has upped their game, and their vacuums now are really, really impressive. Like I said, I've had this for 2 weeks, and the floors are spotless. Aside from a few stains and some other things that are on the floor that I kind of did on purpose, it really is an amazing vacuum, and it makes cleaning much easier. Many people might have a robot vacuum, maybe from Roomba, as I did, and the robot vacuum from Roomba really just bounces around and kind of bangs into everything. I'm sure everyone has those Roombas that basically, they just have a bumper on them and they just scuff everything. The new vacuums with the LiDAR, which is that little sensor on top there, you'll see working in a minute. They really do work a lot better. It has a very soft bumper when it does bump into something. If it doesn't see it, it's very soft and delicate, and it's also very quiet. For anybody that hasn't purchased one of these robot vacuums in the last, I would say, year, they really have come a long way. There's many manufacturers out there, and so far I've really been happy with this Roborock. It's been very impressive. I actually started with a Bissell Crosswave, and I said it cleaned the floors really well. It had the hydro steam and everything. And then just a few days later, the floors were dirty again. I'm like, am I really going to be doing this over and over again? So I really encourage you guys to check out these robot vacuums. Eventually, I'd like to open up my own website where I support any purchases and customers. I'd like to become an authorized dealer for these products and build a community where customers can engage and talk to each other and point out tips. And I'm working on that. We'll see how this progresses, but it's more of a hobby for me right now and just something I'm testing out. So onto the Roborock. The LiDAR function basically maps out the entire floor plan of your house, and it knows what room it's in, and basically it's able to sense the floor type, whether it's hard floor or carpet or tile, and you're able to then tell it to program like where you want to go. For example, I have it go to the kitchen or to the dining room area after eating. You're able to set schedules and say, hey, I want to do a deep clean, and let's say vacuum the carpet on full vacuum, let's say in the bedroom, and then I want to have it go in the kitchen and vacuum as well, and then mop, or I can vacuum and mop at the same time. There's many different programs which I'll show on the app in a minute. Some other features that it has is once it docks, it actually has a self-cleaning dock, which allows it to very basically minimal maintenance. The only thing you really need to do is fill it with water, and then it has basically two bins here. So one of the bins is for dirty water and one is for fresh water. So this is the clean water bin, and this is the dirty water bin. As you see, it's pretty dirty, and that's because a lot of times what it's doing is it's flushing out of here. Basically, the mop pads are going into this, and it's being cleaned out with hot water. There's a whole video demoing this on Roborock's website. But basically, it's washing its own mop pads. And because of that, it really is, watch, I'm going to flip this thing over here. What's really cool is that it's, you pick, let's say, the mop pad, and if you wanted to wash it, this is also Velcro. You're able to kind of pull that out, but you really don't need to unless it gets really soiled. You put it in the washing machine. This also removes, and you can clean it out, and it actually sucks itself out, and it goes into this vacuum bag. Now, Roborock wants you to buy their bags, but on Amazon you can probably get these bags very cheap, like $1. So, and you might say, oh, I don't want a vacuum bag. Well, actually, the vacuum bag allows you to get better suction. When you don't have vacuum bags, it actually makes it harder to empty. It's dirty, and this just makes sense. The vacuum bags are not a big deal. So when you pull this out, you're able to clean this if needed. And I find that hair only really gets caught up on the sides here, and you just twist this. So with the roller, you just twist this. I think it's actually towards you. No, it's twist away. Yeah, twist away, and they're able to kind of pull the hair out. You can do this once every other week or so. It really doesn't get too bad. I guess if you have a lot of pets, you'd want to do that more often. But really, that's the only maintenance it really needs. Is you take this out, to see if there's any hair, then you just throw it in the garbage. See, and just twist it back in. That's the roller. Just goes right in. Like that. You can also clean this off. Just kind of pull the hair off. Some of them have better technology where the hair doesn't really wrap up around this, but I don't find it to be too much of an issue. So that's that. Sometimes, you want to clean this off if it has some hair. But like I was saying before, though, the mop pads really are very clean. It does a really good job, and it's able to clean this very well with its own, self-washing technology. I think these are the sensors that make sure that they don't fall off stairs. Here, let me flip it over. So again, it self-empties. It goes out through here. You can also wash this filter as well. There's a filter here. So what you do is open it over here. You just push this in. This you can wash and rinse out when it gets dirty, and then it says to leave it there for about 24 hours. You can also put it somewhere to dry in the sun. You don't want to put it when it's wet. And you just also want to check over here and make sure this is cleared out. But there's really not much to it in terms of maintenance and cleaning. I mean, look, I've used this now 2 weeks, and it's not that dirty. It's pretty good. So here, I'm going to put it back in. Just snaps. Really, everything just fits nicely. So I can actually send it back home.
Continue returning to dock.
It's going to go back to its dock. So right now it's actually orienting itself. It's trying to figure out where is it, because I pulled it out manually. It's like, all right, where am I? And that's sometimes you'll see it when it spins. It'll tell you on the app, like, positioning. It's just trying to get an idea of where it is. Then it just lines up nicely in its dock. So in a minute, I'm actually going to run a cycle. And there it is. Now it's charging. All right, so let me go ahead and start a wash. We'll do a vacuum and mop at the same time. As you can see, the app is loading. Once it loads, you'll see the routines on the bottom there, but we're going to go into enter to get the my map. I'm going to click vacuum and mop by clicking rooms. I'm going to want the kitchen, the dining room, and the living room. And then I'm going to choose vacuum and mop. I have a custom water level, which is the maximum water it can put out. Just showing that you can change it here. And then we're going to do showing you 2 passes, so it's going to go zigzag. And then I'm going to hit start.
Going to wash them up. Starting to wash them up.
So now it's washing up. I'm not sure why it exited the dock and then chose to wash them up. That's okay. Sometimes it kind of has to position itself and think. But usually I have routines set. I don't have to do selective room cleaning. Currently, actually, they all say invalid because I just changed a lot of the settings per the room. Like I changed the direction of the tile, because then it will clean along the tile here. And I created a little bit more borders to let it know basically when there's a threshold. And I also merged some of the rooms because it thought it was a different room. So, kind of, once it maps out your entire floor plan, you might have to merge and edit the floor plan a little bit. Once you do that, you're set. You really don't have to mess with it anymore. So here's just washing the mop pad. So this is about as loud as the mop pad gets. It gets about really loud when it's emptying the dustbin. I actually got a video of that earlier. And I'll put that at the end of the video when it empties. That's about as loud as it gets. I would say this is about 75% as loud as it gets. It's not too distracting at night, but the best way to explain it would be when it empties the dustbin at night, or when it empties the dustbin back into the vacuum bag here. It's about as loud as a normal vacuum. And it's only about 30 seconds, so it's really not that bad. But it is loud, and it would wake you if you didn't want to run it at, let's say, 3 a.m. But the vacuum itself is really quiet. We'll see that in a minute. So it's actually heating up the water, because this one is the Q Revo Pro, and it has the 140-degree mop washing and air drying. I think they actually all have air drying, but the what you call it, the hot water allows it to clean the mop heads well, and that's what I was showing earlier. Another feature which I'll get to is this feature right here, the flexible mop, edge mop. One of the rollers actually kind of like puts its arm out and it gets around the corners when it knows that it's feeling an edge of a surface. It'll put its mop pad around and clean the edge, which is really cool. And I think only the Pro and select models have that, which is a really nice feature. I think some of the top tier models have it on both, with either both edge mop, and then one has it with the brush roller. But I'm really happy. I think this model really is the perfect balance of features I need versus features I don't need. One of them has a camera where you can actually like track your pet, and you can video chat. Guess let's move that out of the way. Oh, I gotta see now the mop pads are spinning and the floor is wet. So let me move this box. It's actually putting out its mop pad because it noticed that there was something there. It's going to go around the box. Yeah, put this in the other room. And what you'll notice is, that box kind of threw it off, but what it really likes to do is I actually set it up where it will do a cross pattern, so it makes it make a grid. And it's really intelligent because a lot of times, like let's say the Roombas, they kind of just bounce around everywhere. I even have a Samsung Jet mop that it would just spin around aimlessly. So I really like how this maps it out, and it really is methodical. It doesn't just bounce around. It doesn't bump into things. So there, it's putting out its foot, the mop pad to get around the edge there. You can see here the floor is wet. Now you might say, oh, can I use solution? What kind of floor cleaner can I use? Now there's a brand that they recommend. I think it's like OXO or something. It's their own brand. And that's really the only one they recommend because it has to, you don't want the pumps to jam. And I did a lot of research on actually what that formula is. Excuse me, this mop thing over there. And I saw that it's similar to the Bono mop cleaner, but here's the thing. I was reading a lot of Reddit forums, and someone made a good point. They said you really don't want to put chemicals on your floor that often, and you really don't need it to do every day. So hot water wash, typically every day is fine. And what I'll do is, I have, there's this, Target has a brand of squirt and mop. It's like I forget the brand off the top of my head, but it's a Method. I think it's Method. And you just squirt it on the floor. And I was told as long as the solution doesn't go into the water thing, it won't jam the pumps and the nozzles. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because it's just going to go on the mop rollers. So I would say once a month, maybe twice a month, that's when I'll put the solution on the floor and give it a clean. But, think about it, I have a dog, if you have children, you really don't need to put solution down on the floor every single day. I may end up buying the solution just because and try it for a week. But I find that the water does a really good job, and you really only need to do the solution. Let's even leave it in the bike pedal. You really only need to put the solution down once a month, maybe twice a month, if that. If you want to get, that smell, the nice smell that you get with the solution. Now, what's also interesting is on the app, you can actually it shows you where the where the vacuum is, mop vacuum, and you can kind of track it. You'll know exactly where it is, and it kind of will show you it's a grid pattern. I put some toys down on purpose. My dog's toy. Let's see. Typically won't avoid toys that are too small, but I think it actually saw that one. Yeah, see, I kind of knew it. There's some tests and some other videos on some other channels that shows it will roll over dog, and dog and cat poop. It will not see that. It really only sees taller objects. So, something to be mindful of. And if it were to go onto the carpet, actually it detects that it's on the carpet and it lifts up the mop pad. But I find that because it already mapped out my house, what I'm able to do is, I would say vacuum the carpets first. So usually what I do, my routine is that I vacuum the carpets, so go into my bedrooms, vacuum the bedrooms, and then it will come out and do a vacuum mop on the floors. And what's interesting is when you do a mop setting, if you do, let's say, mop only, you're able to have a more intense mopping compared to just vacuum and mop. And the same with vacuum. You're able to vacuum on a higher setting than if you just do vacuum mop together. So, so far I find it not necessary. I don't want the thing going around too often because I just, don't need to. But it's an option you have if you really need it, if you have a really dirty household. But you can see it's really doing a nice job cleaning the floors and it's keeping it wet. I think now it's going to start its real grid pattern around the house. Sometimes you'll see it kind of like spins. If you pause it or whatever, the vacuum will kind of do this, where it'll spin. And it's because it's kind of finding its position. So, puts out the foot because it knows it's on an edge. And sometimes you think, oh no, it missed a spot. But I actually have it on the 2 setting, which allows it to do this cross wave. So it makes a grid, and it'll just go up and then this way. And I'm going to have probably another video where I really show you in depth how to set up the maps, how to set up the routines, and just kind of more of the app settings. But I'm just showing you how it works. And here we go. Here's a piece of hair. There's a box here, and I move the box, and so that needs to be cleaned. So let's see what it does. I might get it back on the second pass. In fact, on the app, I think it was blocked because it knew there was a box there. But I'm pretty confident it'll find it. Notice it's able to go onto my couch, which is pretty cool. Now, typically, to do the whole house, it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours, like about 1,200 square feet here between the floor and carpets. See that? Walk over it, right out footprints. All right, you guys don't need to watch a half hour of this, but I'll zoom in and come back and we get up to some really dirty parts. I actually have some coffee in here, and you know what? I'm not even going to edit the video and just go over that. I'm going to see if it actually gets it. So if you see later in the video, it's going to hopefully pick some of this up here. And let's see if it comes back and gets the hair that's over here. So I'm not changing it, I'm leaving it at this setting, and let's see how it performs. As you can see, my Wheaten Terrier Poodle mix, her name is Tess. She's due for a haircut this weekend. She used to bark at this vacuum non-stop. It would drive her crazy. She would chase it, attack it, but now she's able to fall asleep. And just watch it. I was concerned, I'm like, oh, she's gonna keep barking at it every time. Thought about, I might have to return it, but she really got used to it, and I'm proud of her. And she's closing her eyes. I'm so proud of you. You good girl? Yeah. She follows me everywhere. All right, I will pick back up again when it gets closer to the coffee and that hair in that corner. All right, I think it's gonna get it. We're getting there. All right, let's see. How you gonna do it? What do you think, Tess? It's gonna get it? What do you think? See, she's unfazed. Maybe a little worried. All right, it's getting too close to me. She used to bark at it. Think we're getting there? Yep, she doesn't like it. But she's, and she also likes to sniff that. Leave it. Good girl. Leave it. Leave it. I think we're gonna get it here. Let's go. Guess what we're up against. It's getting the coffee. Now going back to wash the mop pads for a second time. I forget what interval I have it on, whether it's timed or by sensor. I'll check, but
Starting to wash the mop.
hear the pumps going. Now it's emptying the dustbin. I actually took off my microphone clip so you can hear it. This is the loudest part of the process. It's, I think it's about 30 seconds. This is the loudest it will be. And it's sucking out all the dirt. It did not get the stain over here. And I think what's happening was as the vacuum was going, it kind of went on this ramp here. So it wasn't able to, it kept going into vacuum mode. This is rubber. It didn't get that either for the same reason. It kind of went there a few times. It got a lot of it, but not perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually just move this, and then I'll just go in and manually basically set it to just go to this area, which is really cool. I'll show you how that works. Just at starting zone cleaning. So we have it going. I lifted up the carpet, or the mat, I should say, and it's gonna go right to that zone. Now it's actually not mopping because it thinks that there's a carpet there. Because it remembers the carpet being there. There you go, just put down the mop pads. There it is. So it knew, okay, the carpet's gone, and now there it goes. And now it got all the coffee.
Returning to dock.
Let's see how it handles this. It's probably gonna go around the other one. just want to show here what my carpets are like when it vacuums the carpets. Now, once your floors are mapped, meaning it knows your rooms, typically what I'll do is I'll have it start with the bedrooms and it'll vacuum the carpet, and I put it at max power, and then it'll vacuum the carpets, and then it goes to mopping. So just showing a very small clip here of the carpet, and then we're gonna wrap up the video, and I'll show some pictures of the the dirty water tank. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, like the video. It's my first one. I know the cuts aren't perfect. I'm using DaVinci Resolve, and there's some things I'm trying to learn here. But let's see how this channel progresses. I'd love to answer any comments or questions if anyone has anything, and please subscribe, and thanks for watching. It's empty water, so I'll show you this is just empty. Too low. See, it's below the dip line. Now let's take a look at the dirty water. Now, it's that all this dirty water wasn't in the mop pad. What happens is because it washes it so many times, it ends up, putting a lot of dirty water in here. So it wasn't dragging this on the floor. It just collects because it just washes the pads. So let's go ahead and dump this out. Very simple.